When your divine masculine goes completely silent on you, like you're not even getting smoke signals, your ego is going to tell you the most terrifying lies. He's completely moved on. He doesn't care about you. He's completely forgotten about you, and or that you've done something completely wrong to drive him away forever. Energetically, in the twin flame dynamic, the exact opposite is usually true. And what I've learned is that his silence isn't a sign of indifference. It's actually a sign of intense, overwhelm, energetic overload. Like it's just too much for the divine masculine. And right now, what is actually happening behind the silence is they're processing their emotions. They're moving through spiritual upgrades. They're having ego deaths, and they don't even understand or have the vocabulary, at least the spiritual vocabulary, to even explain what's going on with you or with them. And so, if you are experiencing their silence, do not chase them, okay? Texting them, spiraling, writing out literally novel text messages, asking them why. I'm so guilty of this, okay? Not my proudest moment. But ultimately, you're really validating their urge to run. So I'm going to encourage you to just take a break and allow them to move through what's going on in their internal world. And I'm going to show you exactly what they're feeling during this phase. I'm going to speak on it because I am in union and engaged to my twin flame. We've had many, many conversations about this and why the divine masculine's ego forces them to go into what we would probably call hiding or, their man cave, okay? And really the exact mind shift that you must make at this moment in time to really help shift the energy and bring them back into alignment and attract them back your way, okay? So if you're new to my channel, welcome. I am Kanisha. I am a twin flame ascension coach. I also love to focus on mindset, limiting beliefs, and manifestation. And I'm here to help you come into harmonious union. Like I said, I am in union with my twin flame, so I absolutely know what I'm talking about here. And I don't just teach the theory, I absolutely live it in my everyday life. My mission is to really help you break through the heavy blocks, the upsets, and the painful mirroring dynamic that you might experience during separation in your twin flame union and really help you come into a stable, loving, unconditional, harmonious union with your divine counterpart. And because I know the agonizing silence of separation, it literally feels like this is never going to end. I promise you it will if you really choose to have the right support, and I can help you with that. I do offer a free 30-minute intro session to help you get really clear on the blocks and the upsets that you're moving through and what the next step is to help you move into your harmonious union with your twin flame. So the link is below. Don't miss your spot. And also, there are some really incredible things that I'll share with you at the end of this video on how to go deeper in your twin flame union that will help support you with some extra tools. All right, so grab a notebook, sit back, grab some tea if you need it, and let's go ahead and jump into really the cognitive dissonance of the masculine, okay? Some big words for me, but hey. So honestly, understanding their silence can feel like doing a puzzle in the dark, really. And we first have to understand the core difference and how the masculine and the feminine energies really process their reality and their internal reality. As a divine feminine, your superpower is emotional fluidity. And for me, I'm very in tune with my emotions, and I can usually feel things happening energetically that sometimes my masculine just doesn't grasp right away. You will feel that grief, that anger, or love, and your natural instinct is to express it, is to talk it through, is to move it out of your body, okay? The masculine energy processes the reality in a much different way. They're very structured, they're logical creatures, they're really seeking safety first. And from the time that they're little boys or men, they're conditioned to be, I guess, like society will condition them to believe that the vulnerability equals weakness, and they're really told to like be rugged, prideful, unshakable, don't cry or I'll give you a reason to cry kind of thing. Don't feel your feelings, just fix the problem, find the solution. And really, that is just the matrix blueprint that they're operating under. It's just programming and patterns that they picked up from a very young age. And then they meet you. Okay. And when the divine masculine encounters this intense, unexplainable spiritual pull of the twin flame dynamic and connection, it literally shakes their psychological system. They're like, what is happening here? But they're trying to like keep it cool and really trying to be stoic about it. Okay. And really, it causes the what we call the cognitive dissonance. And his mind is saying this doesn't make logical sense, and I barely know her. We're completely incompatible on paper. um, Maybe you both come from very different backgrounds, but yet they feel completely pulled to you and they don't know why. Like, why does this divine feminine have this pull over me? Like, what is it about them that makes me just be drawn to them, is really what they're moving through. And in their life, their logical structures just can't compute with what their soul is experiencing. Okay. So let's just give them a little bit of compassion. But this really makes them feel out of control and it can really make them feel unsafe. And as a masculine operating heavily in their ego, feeling out of control can feel like dying. Okay. This is what my masculine has shared with me. And their immediate, like, instinctual defense is to really protect themselves from things that feel terrifying and that make them feel vulnerable. It really makes them want to just pull back and they just retreat. And so it's not personal. They're not running from you. Like, I really hope you hear me when I say this. They're not really running from you. They're running from the mirror of their own soul, which is what you represent. Like, you are bringing up all the fears and anxieties and anything that feels so uncomfortable, you trigger it and you just bring it up to the surface for them. And a lot of them don't have the tools to process what you're bringing up. So, again, not personal. But I really want you to think about what they see versus what they feel. Okay. Because this is really important. And I want you to look at the illusion versus the reality. On the outside is what you're going to experience, what they're moving through, and then what they're actually moving through on the inside. They're not going to tell you what they're moving through because that's too vulnerable, okay? They're going to try again to look stoic and rugged, and they're going to try like prideful and like, you have no control over me, and I'm not worried about anything because I have everything taken care of and figured out, right? You might be seeing them post on social media, going out with friends, or completely just by themselves and burying themselves in work, whatever it is that they do. And it can look like they don't care or have a care in the world. But we know in our deep parts of our soul that that is just not true. Okay. You can feel it as the divine feminine. You're like, I know you care about me, even though they're not acting like it. So your ego is going to say something like, see, he's totally fine without me. If he wanted to, he would. I deserve better. I don't know why I'm dealing with this. But if we look beneath the surface, energetically, what is he actually feeling? What are they actually moving through? Inside their cave of silence, it is deafening to them. Like, they're having a really hard time, guys, of like being so honest with you. They are wrestling with themselves. They are really trying to figure out why they're feeling such push and pull within themselves. And they're experiencing this massive tug of war between their ego and their higher self. And when they feel this way, your physical presence, your energetic imprint is still pulling on them in their heart chakra. Like, if you're consistently thinking about them or checking in on them, or your energy is just headed their direction, they feel it. Okay. Like, they're 100% feel it. And they're just sitting in their room or driving their car or all of a sudden your face randomly pops up in their mind, from what I've been told. And they try to push it down and they try to have distractions. And that could look like work, alcohol, family, video games, other people. But the connection is so magnetic that the harder they try to pull away, the tighter the energetic, like, rubber band just stretches, and then it eventually breaks. Okay. So this deep pull really brings up a sense of unworthiness, and they are never going to admit that to you because that might make them look weak. And the last thing they want their divine feminine to think is that they're weak. All right. So they're going to look at just this feeling of having to protect themselves and not being too vulnerable. But then they look at your purity and your spiritual growth and your unconditional love, and their shadow side literally whispers, "You are not good enough for your divine feminine. You can't provide what they need. You are too broken." And when I heard this from my masculine, that broke my heart because I was just like, that is not the truth. And instead of admitting that fear, because their pride will not allow it, they would rather choose silence. And silence is their shield. This is how they protect themselves. If they don't speak, they can't fail you, divine feminine. If they don't speak, they can keep this rugged, my goodness, rugged interior just like intact, protected in this like shell of theirs. And they can't harm you all at the same time. It terrifies them to literally open their mouth because they feel like they're going to fail you and they will fall apart completely and their entire ego structure will just collapse. And you're going to see the true them, and God forbid. But really, they're healing this part of them that knows on a soul level they're safe with you, but they have never experienced that with anyone else. And then here you come wanting to love them and put all your love on them and give them all this attention and just validation and reassurance and all of this deep unconditional compassion. They're like, what are you? Like, who are you? Where'd you come from? And why do you want to do that for me? Like, that's exactly what my masculine moved through. Like, who is this woman and why does she want to love me? So I think what most feminines don't realize is that the silence phase is usually when the universe or God is doing the heaviest construction work on the masculine. This is a period of their emotional detox, okay? So just give them some compassion and space to move through this process because divine feminines, you carry the high frequency of the divine feminine energy. You are the energy that has acted as a catalyst in their life. And when you two interacted, you poured pure light into their energetic field. And do you know what happens when you pour pure light into a dark room? It illuminates all the dirt, the dust, the shadows, the cobwebs, the spider webs in the corner. Like, it's all revealed, y'all. So, like, really give them some compassion and know that while they're in silence, they're forced to look at this dirt. They have to reflect, especially if you're doing the inner work, if you're doing the mirror exercise, if you're doing the healing and the reflecting, and you're not just sad, moping, and waiting, but you're actually doing the work. It literally causes them to do the work too because you're one consciousness. You make the same core choice. So if one of you is healing, both of you are healing. Okay, that is the truth about twin flames. If one of you initiates healing, then the other one is going to heal too. I've experienced this full force in my union, especially when we have an upset. I will surrender, I'll go and do the inner work, and then long and behold, we'll come back together, we'll have a conversation, and the understanding I came to, the revelations I came to, he also came to during his time of silence and being in the other room. As I was healing, so is he. We were both having conversations within and with God, and we came to the same understanding. And the only person who meets me like that is my divine masculine, is my twin flame. It's incredible, okay? So know that they're having to move through all of that. And the universe begins to create what we call the tower moment in their life, where all of a sudden, all of these illusions and these thought process start to crumble, especially if they're not based on unconditional love. So while they are silent towards you, again, not personal, they might suddenly face like very intense pressure. And this could be in their job, in their career, in their family. It can be having fallout with like old friends or toxic friends. They might face like financial struggle or family upheaval. I really find that a lot of the things that they experience is very outwardly, it's very reality based because they're the divine masculine. They're very present in the reality and they're also very logical and they take a lot of action out in the reality. So they experience a lot of this in their reality. And the universe is very intentional about destabilizing their physical world to break their reliance on ego ultimately. And it really forces them to realize that the matrix structure that they've been building their life on can't bring them true peace. And really, in those moments when this world starts crashing down around them, they remember the peace that they felt when they were in alignment with you. And their silence is literally I would call it the incubation period, would be the perfect word for me to think of right now, of like their awakening ultimately. And they pretty much have to lose their ego self to finally find their divinity. They have to say no to ego and put a boundary with ego and choose love. So ultimately, one of the solutions would be the mirror exercise and changing your frequency, divine feminine. So let's talk about you a little bit. Let's change gears a little bit and really focus on the divine feminine, because if your divine masculine is moving through these things, one thing that I hear a lot of people say, it's a myth. If you're awakened, your masculine's asleep. No, you're literally one divine soul. And so, as a perfect mirror, one whole, if one of you is awake, both of you are awake. Okay, that's just the truth. That is what I've experienced working with many, 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 many clients, many unions. You both are equally awake. Now, divine feminines usually have more of a spiritual vocabulary of what you're moving through, because you're very spiritual divine beings. You're very in tune with spirituality. And the divine masculines are very in tune with reality. So they might not have the vocabulary to really express what they're moving through, but you are literally one energy. So if you want the mirror, which is your twin flame, to change, you have to change too. If you want the mirror to smile at you, you have to smile first. And you could be like, Kanisha, so I have to do all the work. Not really. You start the work, you start leading the work, and they meet right with you. Okay. So I really want you to focus on that. So let's talk about the divine video, that divine feminines watching this video right now, is that you are the priority. Because as long as you're focused on their silence, you're literally going to stay stuck in separation and the illusion of separation. We are one energy. Our twin flame connection is one soul sharing two bodies, the divine feminine, the divine masculine. Therefore, whatever is happening in the physical reality of the divine masculine is a direct reflection of an energetic state inside of you. This is very, very true. I've experienced this time and time again, because your twin flame mirroring never turns off, ever, 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 ever. Okay? And so I want to do the mirror exercise with you right now so you have a better understanding. And I want you to ask yourself honestly, step, like it would be like, where am I being silent towards myself? So if I was going to put this in the mirror exercise, it'd be step one, I'm upset with my divine masculine because he's being silent towards me. Step two would be reversing it and saying, I'm upset with myself because I'm being silent towards myself. And step three is asking yourself, is there any truth to that? Is there any place where I'm being silent within myself? And step four is being very aware of this part of you that is being silent with yourself. This could look like when you spend your days checking their activity status on Facebook, or you're looking for a text, or you're crying over their absence. Maybe you're completely abandoning your own life and you are being silent to your own passions, your own healing, your own connection to the divine. You're broadcasting a frequency of literal desperate lack, okay? And you're screaming into the universe, and I am empty without them. And this is where you're actually not giving yourself what you need. You've gone complete silent treatment on yourself instead of giving to yourself what you need, because you share the same energetic field. They feel this heavy pressuring energy in their cave. It feels like an anchor just weighing them down. And it makes them stay in hiding for longer because they can feel that you're waiting for them to show up to make you feel better. And they're like, see, I'm feeling my divine feminine. So when you give yourself what you need that you're seeking from your divine masculine, it helps them emerge from this cave. To break their silence, you have to break your obsession with it. You have to break your focus about them being silent. You have to break the story about them being silent. And you must take all the beautiful potential energy that you're wasting wondering what they're doing and literally scoop it up and pour it right back into you, into your own cup. You need to focus on your ascension. You need to heal your inner child. You need to heal your wounds around abandonment and not receiving the love that you deserve. Build your business, build your mind, your body, elevate everything within you, and enjoy your independence. Okay? Like, enjoy it. And know that even though you're an independent divine being, you're also creating this beautiful life where your masculine is going to meet you in that space too, and literally become independent of their physical validation. You don't need validation from your masculine. You don't. Okay? You're a fantastic divine feminine, and you need to remember your power. You need to remember who you are. You don't need your masculine to validate any of that. So the moment when you literally step into your full, radiant, divine, feminine energy and you say, I am whole and complete exactly as I am, I don't need anybody else's validation, including my masculine, that energetic pressure on him completely lifts instantly. And that rubber band snaps back, okay? And this is why you see a lot of feminines who are like, I was finally doing really well and taking care of myself and prioritizing myself and just feeling so good. And then all of a sudden he came back. Yes, sis, of course he came back. He's going to mirror that good feeling energy. And he's going to want to be in that space because you're choosing peace and love. That's where you meet your twin flame. So all of a sudden, you will see that you have sealed this vacuum of leaking energy by needing their attention, and ultimately their natural instinct to pursue you is going to just kick in, and their protective nature will literally override their ego, and they will move mountains to come back into your frequency and your space. I've experienced it. Okay, so I want you to really focus on your next step and your next action plan. And that is to stop chasing that physical person. Do not chase the divine masculine, and they will run. Whatever you chase after will run, okay? So put all of that energy and focus back on you and start healing all of those wounds, that part of you that says, I need them to show up to feel better, or I need them to communicate so that I feel chosen, or I need that attention so I know that I'm wanted. Heal those parts of you because you're already whole, complete, and worthy and deserving of love right now. You don't need someone to give that back to you to prove that to yourself. And their silence is not a punishment, and it's not personal. It's literally the sacred space provided by the universe, provided by God, so that both of you can grow into the versions of you that can really sustain a permanent, harmonious union. And you got to trust the process. You got to know that ultimately their silence is a blessing because it's meant to make you put your focus back on you and God, and knowing that God is doing the heavy lifting behind the scenes. Anytime I've surrendered my twin flame to God and just trusted God with my masculine, he had such incredible healing and insights during that process. And if you're tired of running in circles and you're done sitting in the pain of separation and you want a clear step-by-step roadmap to pinpoint the exact blocks that are keeping you apart, let's just get together. Let's do a 30-minute clarity call and really get an understanding of what's happening and the blocks that you're moving through. And I can help you understand your core block to harmonious union. You're meant to be completely supported on this journey. So if this video resonated with your soul, make sure that you hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, share this with someone who needs this, and drop a comment below where you are currently at in your connection. I want to know. Share that with me. I read every single one of them and I respond back to every single one of them. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for joining me here at Peace, Love, Faith, and Divine Union. I hope to see you guys very soon. You beautiful souls, have a wonderful evening, and I hope to see you guys just thriving in your harmonious union.